We're going from knowing absolutely nothing to creating a full 2D platformer prototype. Today we're adding our first collision platforms and a basic background to our 2D level in the Godot engine. Going forward, I'm going to be using the free platform game assets pack. You can find the source assets for everything we're doing on the Discord server, and I'll leave a link in the description. We'll start by creating a couple more scenes within our project, including a level scene that's going to include our background and a platform scene that we can duplicate within that level scene. With our project open, we're going to go ahead and create a new 2D scene. We can go ahead and save this 2D scene as our demo level. With our new scene created, we're going to go up here to the plus button, and we're going to add a ColorRect node. This node creates a rectangular shape with a color background that we can use as a foundational background for our level. Now, if we go ahead and run our scene right now, you'll notice that we have our rectangle up here on the left and we have all of this open space here. I want to know what the size of this window is so we can set our rectangle shape and our background shape to the proper size. We can do that by going up to our project tab, go to project settings, and then going to display window. You'll find here we have our width and our height of our window tab, and it's currently set to 1024 and 600. You can resize this if you want, but I'm going to keep it the same for now. Now that we know our size, we can go over here to the Inspector tab and go to the Rect tab right here. You'll notice our size is currently set to 40 by 40 pixels. We're going to set that to 1024 to 600. Now, if we play our scene again, you'll see that our window is fully filled up. Now, you don't really even need to have this rectangle. I just like to have it to give sort of a foundational frame for where we're working. But I'm going to go ahead and change this color to black, and then we'll begin to add our background. And we can do that by either going into our content and using our free platform game assets and finding one of our backgrounds. And we can simply just drag this onto our scene and drop. Alternatively, you could go up here to the plus and add a sprite node right here and do the same thing. Now, obviously, this is way bigger than our frame, so we're going to have to resize our background sprite, and we can do that by clicking on it, either over here or on the scene, and going to our transform. And what we'll do is we'll adjust our scale size, and we'll start off by setting it to 0.5 and 0.5. And we can drag this up if we make sure we have our grid snapping turned on. When we drag this, it will snap according to that grid, and we can add it right there into the corner and then rescale it to fit into our space. Now, if you hold the shift button, you're going to keep the ratio of your image the same. Now we can go ahead and test this within our scene by pressing the play button, and you'll notice that we have a really thin black line here at the top and a little bit on the right side too. So what we need to do is go back into our background sprite, and we need to check where exactly this is snapping. And you can see we're not quite reaching that top, and in fact we're snapping using the middle of our image, and that's because the middle of our image is being set as our origin. Now, the origin is sort of the 0, point of our object. In this case, it's right here in the middle. Now, we want to set that origin to the top left so we can use the top left to snap. And we can do that by clicking our background sprite, going to offset, and clicking centered to off. Now you'll notice that our origin is now here in the top left of our image, and we can set that and drag it. Boom, right there in the top left. And if we click play, no more black line. And now that we have our level set up and we have our background sprite ready to go, we can work on our platform scene. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and add a new scene. And for this one, we're going to go to other node, because what we're looking for is the static body 2D node. So what this does is it creates a static body that's going to work for 2D physics, which is going to be important when we're adding our character and all of our movement. So we'll go ahead and create that. That's going to be our root. You'll notice that we have our warnings that we had in our last episode. So we need to add a couple things, including a collision shape and a sprite. So let's go ahead and add our collision shape 2D, and we'll add a sprite. Now for our sprite, we're going to go back into our free platform game assets folder. We're going to go down to the tiles folder. I'm using the PNG and then the 128 by 128. And I'm going to use this grass mid.png right here. So let's click on our sprite. We'll go over to our inspector. We'll click and drag our grass mid PNG file all the way over here to the texture and drop. And then you can see our tile showing up right here in the viewport. So now that we have the sprite set up, we're going to go back to our collision shape 2D node, and get rid of this warning by adding a shape. And because we're just using a simple square, we'll do a new rectangle shape 2D and resize this out to match our sprite. Now you'll notice that the collision shape 2D is kind of behind our sprite. You can actually fix that by changing the order, and then now you have the collision that you can see on top of the sprite. We'll go ahead and save that. We'll call that our base mid platform, and we'll go back to our demo level. And now that we've saved our platform scene, you'll see it over here in your file system, and you can just grab and drag right into your scene. So now that we've added this to our scene, you can actually create a duplicate by selecting that node and then hitting Control D. And that's going to create a duplicate that you can then drag and move around the scene. So I'm going to go ahead and create a little bit of a setup here, and then we'll see how it looks when we press play. I'm going to go ahead and press the play button now and take a look at our scene. Everything is fitting within our boundary. Now that we have all of our platforms in place, we can take our character scene to test it. Now I've adjusted our character using one of the sprites in our free platform game assets pack, and I've already created a platform script that we're going to be looking at in the next video. So I'm going to quick load that, add in our platformer, and then we're going to press play. So the collision nodes that we added to our platform base stops our character from moving further down the screen. If I were to remove that collision shape, the character would simply fall through the floor. So let's go ahead and test that out. We'll go back to our base mid-platform, go to our collision shape 2D, and we'll disable that collision. Go back to our demo level, press play, and we go straight through the floor. And again, this change happened for every single instance of that platform because we're using the scene as a base. And with that, we've added a background and some platforms to our 2D level. And in the next episode, we'll take our first dive into GDscript so we can add some basic movement to our 2D platform character like you see here. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss future episodes in the series as we go from knowing absolutely nothing about creating a platformer to a full-featured 2D platform prototype. Until then, go create something awesome.